I thought I'd escaped my past, until my girlfriend cheated with the same man who destroyed me at 17. When I opened her messages, my hands went cold. I never knew pain could find me twice. Ethan, they're saying Dad stole the money. I still remember my mother's trembling voice that night. The words cut through the rain hammering our old roof. I was 17, and everything I thought I knew about trust ended in that moment. What? I shouted, running out of my room. That's impossible. Dad sat at the kitchen table, hands shaking, a folded paper in front of him. They found the envelope in my drawer, he whispered. Marcus said he saw me take it. Marcus? I froze. My Marcus? My best friend? Dad didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence said everything. I stormed out, ignoring Mom's cries. The rain hit my face as I ran to Marcus's house. He opened the door like nothing happened, like he hadn't just destroyed my family. Why'd you lie? I yelled. He blinked. Lie? I saw your dad with the money. What do you want me to do, ignore it? You planted it. You know he didn't take anything. Marcus smirked. You're being emotional, Ethan. Maybe you don't know your dad as well as you think. I wanted to hit him. My fists clenched, but his parents appeared behind him, watching. I turned and ran. By morning, Dad was gone. He couldn't take the shame. The neighbors whispered. My girlfriend, Sarah, stopped answering my calls. When I finally caught her outside school, she wouldn't even look at me. Sarah, you believe me, right? I asked, desperate. She crossed her arms. Marcus showed everyone the proof. I don't want to get involved. Proof? I laughed bitterly. Fake proof. She frowned. Ethan, just stop. You're making it worse. That was the last time we spoke. The last time I believed anyone could be honest. For years, I carried that night inside me like a scar. Every friendship, every handshake, I questioned it. I promised myself I'd never trust another person completely. But promises have a way of breaking when you least expect. Years later, I found myself sitting in a quiet cafe, sketchbook open, designing another building for the firm. My life was calm, almost too calm. I liked the silence. It kept me safe. That's when she walked in, Lena. She was laughing with the barista, sunlight on her hair, carrying that kind of confidence that made people look twice. She ordered a latte, then turned toward me. You're Ethan, right? You work at Westline Architects? I nodded. Yeah. How'd you know? She smiled. I've seen your name on the project boards. I'm in marketing at Novatech, we're partners on that new development. Oh, I said, surprised. Didn't expect anyone from Novatech to recognize me. Well, she said, pulling up a chair, you're the guy designing the building everyone's obsessed with. That counts for something. I laughed, a sound I hadn't heard from myself in years. I doubt anyone's obsessed. I might be, she teased. With your work, I mean. We talked for hours, about architecture, travel, music. For once, I didn't feel like a shadow in my own life. When she left, she said, you should smile more, Ethan. You look like someone who forgot how. That line stuck with me. I thought about it all night. The next day, she texted. I didn't know how she got my number, but I didn't care. She made the days feel lighter, less haunted. Weeks passed. We went for coffee, late-night walks, rooftop dinners. I started to forget the anger that used to wake me at 3 a.m. I even told her, one night, about my father, just a small part. I'm sorry, she whispered. No one deserves that. I nodded. It's fine. It was a long time ago. But inside, I knew it wasn't fine. I'd built a wall so high that even kindness felt like a threat. Still, she kept showing up, texting good morning, calling after work, reminding me that maybe not everyone leaves when things fall apart. One night, as we watched the city lights, she said softly, you've got this sadness in your eyes, Ethan. Like you're waiting for something bad to happen. I forced a smile. Old habit. She reached for my hand. Then let me prove you wrong. For a moment, I believed her. I wanted to. The warmth in her eyes felt real, steady, different. As I drove home that night, I caught myself humming. I hadn't done that in years. I looked in the mirror and almost didn't recognize the man staring back, a man who wanted to believe again. For the first time in years, I thought, I trusted someone. I paused, staring at the reflection of my own faint smile. And somewhere deep down, something whispered, I had no idea history was about to repeat itself. Coffee or tea? Lena called from the kitchen. Coffee, I said. I need the strength to survive another Monday. She laughed. You're dramatic for an architect. I'm an artist trapped in meetings, I said, grabbing my bag. Drama's all I have left. She walked over, handed me the mug, and leaned against the counter. You know, you could just work less. I smiled. That's not how survival works. She grinned. Then at least let me make your mornings better. Mission accomplished, I said. Moments like that made the world feel softer. Her laughter filled spaces I didn't know were empty. It had been 6 months since we started dating, and for the first time in years, I felt normal. At work, the sunlight poured through the glass walls of the design studio. Aaron leaned back in his chair as soon as I walked in. Look who's smiling again, he said. I always smile. Yeah, he said. In your head, maybe. Clara looked up from her screen. He's been like this for weeks. Lena, right? I raised an eyebrow. Is my personal life a department topic now? Aaron chuckled. You're dating, you're happy, and you're actually answering emails. It's suspicious. I shrugged. Guess miracles happen. Clara smirked. Don't jinx it. She didn't mean anything by it, but something about those words made my stomach twist. Jinx it. Like happiness had an expiration date for people like me. During lunch, I called Lena. You alive? I asked. Barely, she said. Meetings all morning. My boss just handed me another partnership project. Lucky you, I said. Oh, please. You'd love it. You architects get to build things. We just talk about them. You build too, I said softly. Just not with bricks. She laughed. You always say weirdly sweet things at the right moment. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, she said. Anyway, I'm grabbing dinner with my team tonight. Don't wait up. Sure. Have fun. I will. Love you. Love you too. I hung up and stared at my phone longer than I should have. She sounded happy, too happy, maybe, but I pushed the thought away. Later that evening, Aaron invited me out for drinks. I almost said no but changed my mind. Fine, I said. But if we end up singing karaoke again, I'm leaving you there. Clara joined us too. Between rounds of laughter and teasing, they kept circling back to Lena. So, Aaron said, when are you two moving in together? Slow down, I said. We're not there yet. Clara tilted her head. You talk about her like she's permanent. She feels like it, I said before realizing how easily the words slipped out. Clara smiled. That's good. You deserve that. I wanted to believe her. When I got home, the apartment smelled like lavender. Lena was curled up on the couch, laptop open. You're late, she said. Blame Aaron, I said, dropping my keys. He thinks karaoke fixes everything. Does it? Not really. She closed her laptop. Sit. I want to tell you something. Her tone was casual, but her eyes flickered with excitement. I met someone interesting today, she said. Our company's new partner. He's brilliant, runs a consulting firm that's joining our next project. Yeah? I said, sipping water. What's his name? Marcus Reed. The glass slipped in my hand. Water hit the floor. Lena blinked. You okay? Yeah, I said quickly, grabbing a towel. Just, clumsy. She chuckled. You? The guy who drafts perfect blueprints? Everyone messes up sometimes. Anyway, she continued, he's sharp, confident, kind of intense, but in a good way. You'd probably like him. Maybe, I said quietly. Inside, my chest felt tight. I hadn't heard that name in over a decade, but it hit me like thunder. Marcus Reed. The boy who destroyed my family. Lena kept talking, something about deadlines and meetings, but her voice faded. All I could hear was the echo of that night at 17, Marcus saying my father's name like a curse. Ethan? I blinked. What? You zoned out. Sorry. Long day. She studied me. You sure you're okay? I'm fine, I lied. She smiled softly. Okay. Don't overwork yourself, okay? I won't. We sat there in silence, her hand resting on mine. I tried to focus on her warmth, her kindness, but my mind kept circling the same name like a warning siren. When she finally went to bed, I stayed in the living room, staring at the ceiling. My pulse wouldn't calm down. It couldn't be him, I whispered. Not after all these years. But deep down, I knew. Fate didn't make coincidences, it made circles. And mine had just started closing again. Come with me tonight, Lena said, standing in front of the mirror, adjusting her earrings. To what? I asked. The Novatech networking event. My boss said I should bring someone. I sighed. You know I'm terrible at social events. You'll survive, she said, smiling. Besides, I'll be there to rescue you. Fine, I said. But if someone starts talking about corporate synergy, I'm leaving. She laughed. Deal. The ballroom buzzed with laughter, glass clinking, and too many perfumes mixing together. Lena looked radiant, glowing in that dim golden light. I tried to match her energy, but something in my chest felt heavy. We moved through groups of people. I smiled when I had to, nodded when I didn't know what else to do. Then Lena waved to someone across the room. Oh, Ethan, she said, I want you to meet our partner on the new project. I turned, and time froze. Marcus Reed. The same slick hair, the same perfectly measured smile. He looked older, richer, but that expression, calm, confident, poisonous, was exactly the same. Ethan Cole, he said warmly, extending his hand. It's been a while. I stared at his hand. For a second, I couldn't move. Lena glanced between us. You two know each other? I forced a breath. Yeah. High school. Marcus laughed. More than that. We were best friends once, weren't we? Something like that, I said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, too firm. The room felt smaller. My pulse hammered in my ears. Well, Lena said, smiling awkwardly, I guess that makes this project even easier. Absolutely, Marcus said. It's good to reconnect, right, Ethan? Yeah, I managed. Good. He smiled like he owned the air between us. Still doing architecture? Still ruining lives? I almost said, but instead I replied, yeah. Designing buildings now. Nice, he said. Always knew you'd go far. He turned to Lena. You've got a good one here. She laughed. I know. Anyway, Marcus said, glancing around, I should mingle. We'll catch up soon, Ethan. I nodded, forcing a polite grin. Sure. Can't wait. When he walked away, Lena touched my arm. What was that? You went pale. I'm fine, I said too quickly. Are you sure? You looked like you'd seen a ghost. I gave a dry laugh. Yeah, something like that. She frowned. You two really used to be friends? Once, I said. A long time ago. Did something happen? Nothing worth talking about here. She squeezed my hand. Okay. But if he makes you uncomfortable, I'll tell my boss I don't want him around. That's not necessary, I said, trying to sound calm. It's just, unexpected. We left early. On the drive home, Lena tried to lighten the mood. He seemed nice, she said. Yeah, I muttered. He's good at seeming. She gave me a sideways glance. You really don't like him. It's complicated. You're shaking. I'm not. You are, she whispered. What did he do to you? I gripped the steering wheel tighter. He didn't do anything to me. He did it to my family. Lena didn't speak after that. The car filled with quiet, thick and heavy. When we reached home, she touched my arm again. You don't have to tell me, but I want to understand. Not tonight, I said softly. Please. She nodded, eyes filled with worry. Okay. But promise me you'll talk about it when you're ready. I will. She went to bed early. I stayed in the living room, staring at the faint reflection in the window, my face pale, eyes sunken. I whispered to the glass, how is this possible? I remembered that courtroom. The cold air, the wooden benches, Marcus sitting 2 rows away, pretending he didn't see me. The judge reading my father's name, my mother crying silently beside me. Marcus had looked straight at me when he lied. Calm. Confident. Like tonight. I could still hear his voice. I saw Mr. Cole take the envelope myself. Lies. All lies. I closed my eyes. My father's hand had trembled on my shoulder that day. Don't hate him, Ethan, he'd said. Let truth handle people like him. But truth never did. Now here he was again, smiling, shaking my hand, acting like nothing happened. How could fate be this cruel? I whispered. The clock ticked. The city lights outside blurred through the window. Somewhere in the other room, Lena shifted in her sleep, unaware that the past she didn't know had just walked back into our lives. And this time, I wasn't sure I could stay calm. Marcus dropped by the office again today, Lena said casually, stirring her coffee. I looked up from my laptop. Again? She smiled. He's helping us with the client proposal. He's actually pretty good at this stuff. I'm sure he is, I said, keeping my tone light. You don't sound convinced. I'm just surprised how often he's around. She laughed softly. He's our partner, Ethan. It's his job. Right. She walked over and kissed my cheek. Don't start getting jealous. I'm not jealous. Good, she said, smiling. Because there's nothing to be jealous of. Her words should have comforted me, but they didn't. Over the next few weeks, Marcus's name became part of our daily routine. Marcus thinks we should redesign the logo. Marcus knows this amazing sushi place. Marcus helped me fix my laptop. Each mention felt like a splinter, small but sharp. One afternoon, Clara stopped by my office. She leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You've been staring at the same screen for 10 minutes. What's going on? Nothing, I said. Don't lie to me, Cole. You only chew on your pen when something's eating you. I dropped the pen and sighed. It's Lena. She's not cheating, is she? No, I said quickly. At least. I don't think so. Clara frowned. Then what? She's been spending time with someone I used to know. Someone who hurt my family. Marcus? I blinked. How do you know? She shrugged. You've said his name 3 times in the past week. You've got that haunted look. I tried to laugh. Haunted. Great. Clara sat down. You can't let your past poison your present, Ethan. People change. Not him. She tilted her head. You sure it's him who hasn't changed, or is it you who hasn't healed? Her words hit harder than I wanted them to. I'm just being careful, I said. Careful's fine, she said. Suspicious isn't. Don't push Lena away for something that might just be in your head. I nodded, though I didn't believe her. That night, Lena came home late. I was half asleep on the couch when I heard the door. Long day? I asked. She smiled tiredly. Yeah. Marcus and I stayed late finishing the pitch deck. I sat up. Just you two? Mostly. Others left early. I didn't respond. She sat beside me. You're doing that thing again. What thing? Your eyes go distant. Like you're somewhere else. I'm here, I said quietly. She reached for my hand. Ethan, whatever's going on, talk to me. Please. I looked at her, really looked, and wanted to believe everything was fine. I'm okay, I said. She studied my face, unconvinced, then smiled faintly. Okay. But promise me you'll try to trust me. I do trust you. Her hand lingered on mine for a second, then she got up and went to the bedroom. When she left, I exhaled slowly. The room felt colder. The next morning, as she got ready for work, I made coffee and tried to start a normal conversation. What's your plan today? I asked. Meeting with the design team, she said, slipping on her heels. Marcus might join us. Of course. Maybe we can have dinner tonight, I offered. Just us. She hesitated. I'll try. No promises, okay? Sure. After she left, I sat there staring at her empty cup, the faint lipstick mark on the rim. I wanted to smash it. Instead, I grabbed my jacket and went for a walk. The wind bit at my face, and my thoughts spiraled. Clara's voice echoed in my head, don't let your past poison your present. But how could I not, when the past kept walking through my door, smiling at my girlfriend, calling her partner? That evening, Lena sat on the couch, scrolling through her phone. She smiled, softly, privately. What's funny? I asked. Oh, nothing, she said quickly, locking the screen. Who was it? Just Marcus. He sent a meme about the presentation. Can I see it? She laughed nervously. It's dumb, you wouldn't get it. My chest tightened. Try me. She stared at me for a moment, then said, Ethan, stop. Stop what? This. Whatever this is. I just asked to see a message. And I said no, she snapped. The silence that followed was worse than shouting. I didn't mean to, I started. She cut me off. You don't trust me. I'm trying. Then try harder, she whispered, eyes glassy. She turned away, her voice trembling. Because I'm getting tired of proving I'm not your enemy. I wanted to tell her I believed her. I wanted to erase the doubt. But then her phone buzzed again. And when she smiled, just slightly, I knew the crack had already started spreading. Lena texted me at 8:47 p.m. Lena, still at the office. Big deadline. Don't wait up. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over reply. Me, need help? No response. By 10:15, I couldn't sit still. Something felt off, too familiar, too rehearsed. I grabbed my keys. The drive downtown was silent except for the hum of the engine and the storm of my thoughts. When I reached her office, the building was mostly dark. The parking lot lights flickered against wet pavement. Two cars sat side by side near the back, Lena's silver sedan and Marcus's black SUV. Of course. I parked far enough not to be seen. My hands tightened on the steering wheel until my knuckles ached. Maybe they're just working. But even in my own head, the words sounded desperate. I waited. 10 minutes. Then 20. The clock on the dashboard glowed 11:02 when the elevator doors opened and they walked out. Marcus was laughing at something. Lena's head tilted toward him, her hair falling over her shoulder. He reached out, brushed a strand behind her ear. She didn't pull away. Her laughter, light, familiar, cut through the still night and into me. I wanted to honk, shout, break something. Instead, I sat there, frozen, as they stood talking by her car. When she finally got in, Marcus leaned down, said something that made her smile again. She drove off first. He stayed behind, watching her taillights fade before getting into his SUV. I followed her home but parked around the corner. The apartment was dark when she entered. No guilt in her steps. No hesitation. I stayed there until 1 a.m., staring at the faint light from our bedroom window. When I finally walked in, she was asleep, or pretending to be. I didn't say a word. I just stood at the door, watching her breathe, wondering if the woman lying there was the same one I fell for. The next morning, the smell of coffee filled the kitchen. She smiled when she saw me. "Morning," she said softly. "Morning. You're up early." "So are you." She shrugged. "Couldn't sleep much." "Busy night?" I asked. She froze mid-stir. "What do you mean? You said you were working late." "I was." "With Marcus?" She nodded slowly. "Yes." "Why? You two always work alone now?" Her eyes flicked to me, cautious. "No, the team was there earlier. He stayed to finish the presentation." "And you stayed too?" "Yes." I took a sip of coffee. My hands didn't shake, though my insides felt like glass. "Ethan," she said carefully, "is something wrong? I drove by last night." Her face drained of color. "You what?" "I saw your cars." I waited. She stared at me, lips parted, breath shallow. "You followed me?" "I came to surprise you." But the surprise was mine. "Ethan. I saw him touch your hair." She looked away. "It wasn't." "Don't lie to me." Silence. When she finally spoke, her voice cracked. "It wasn't what it looked like." "Then what was it?" "Nothing happened." "Nothing?" I said, almost laughing. "He touched you like he's done it before, Lena." You smiled like it felt right. Tears welled in her eyes. "Please stop. I just need the truth." She wiped her face. "You think I wanted this? I think you let it happen." She looked at me then, really looked, and something in her expression broke. "I don't know what's wrong with me," she whispered. "He was just there. We were working, laughing, and it felt easy. Too easy." "So you got confused?" Her eyes shut tight. "Yes," she said quietly. "I got confused." I almost laughed, but the sound died in my throat. "Confused," I repeated. "That's what we're calling it now." "Ethan, I didn't." "Sleep with him?" "Not yet?" "That's what you're about to say, right?" She flinched. "No. I mean." "Stop," I said. My voice was calm, too calm. "You don't have to explain. I've seen this movie before." Her lips trembled. "I made a mistake." "No," I said, setting my cup down carefully. "You made a choice." She reached for me. "Please, don't do this. We can fix it." I stepped back. "You can't fix something that was already cracked." Her tears fell fast now. "I love you." "Do you?" I asked quietly. "Or do you just love being loved?" "Ethan, please." But I was already walking toward the door. "Don't go," she said, voice breaking. "I'm not shouting," I said. "I'm not angry. I'm just done." She ran after me, grabbing my arm. "Look at me. It was one mistake. I swear it won't happen again." I turned to her, finally meeting her eyes. "That's what people say before they do it again." Her grip loosened. "So that's it?" "That's it." I opened the door. The morning light felt harsh, almost cruel. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I don't know," I said. "But anywhere that's not here." "Ethan, please." Her voice cracked behind me, but I kept walking. I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I didn't even feel the anger I thought I would. Just a quiet, hollow stillness. As I reached my car, I realized how familiar the feeling was. The night Marcus betrayed my father, I'd felt the same, this numb disbelief, this hollow silence after the truth explodes and leaves nothing behind. I sat in the driver's seat and stared at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My eyes looked older. I told myself it couldn't happen again, I whispered. Then I started the engine. And for the first time in years, I didn't know who I was driving away from, her, him, or the version of myself that still believed in happy endings. The apartment sounded different without her. Every noise echoed. The refrigerator hum. The clock tick. My own breath. Her side of the closet was empty. The drawers, too. Even the smell of her shampoo was gone. I didn't cry. I just sat on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen, feeling like I'd been erased from my own life. My phone buzzed once. Clara. Clara, heard what happened. You okay? Me, define okay. She called immediately. Ethan? I'm here. I was going to come by, but I didn't know if you wanted company. I don't want anything, I said. But you can come anyway. When she arrived, she didn't speak at first. She just looked around the half-empty living room. She really moved out, she said softly. Yeah. No fight? No screaming? No. Just silence. Clara sat down beside me. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I saw the way she talked about him. I saw it too, I said. I just didn't want to believe it. Do you still love her? I don't know what that word means anymore. Clara sighed. You're too calm. That scares me. I was loud the first time this happened, I said quietly. With Marcus. With my father. This time. I'm tired of noise. She studied me. You can't stay locked in here forever. I'm not locked in. I'm just, paused. Paused? Yeah. Like life hit the brakes and forgot to start again. Clara leaned forward. Then maybe you need to press the gas yourself. I looked at her, managing a small smile. You sound like a therapist. I sound like a friend who's worried. I appreciate that, I said. But honestly, I feel nothing. No hate, no sadness. Just empty space. Sometimes emptiness is healing, she said. It's where things grow back. Or where they die quietly. She frowned. Don't say that. I shrugged. Marcus and Lena are together now. Everyone knows. He's posting pictures. She's smiling in them. I saw. It's almost funny, I said, half laughing. The man who destroyed my family now parading the woman who destroyed my trust. Clara's tone softened. That's not funny. That's cruel. Maybe it's karma testing my patience. She hesitated, then said, about karma, there's something you should know. What? Marcus's company, Reed Systems, it's under investigation. I looked up. For what? Fraud, money laundering, maybe worse. It's just starting to leak out. I stared at her, trying to read her face. You're serious? Completely. A client told me yesterday. For a long moment, I said nothing. Just listened to the sound of the wind outside the balcony door. Funny, I said finally. My father once said truth always catches up. I told him he was wrong. Maybe he was just early, Clara said softly. A faint warmth spread through my chest, small, fragile, like the first spark in ashes. Clara watched me carefully. What are you thinking? That I don't need to do anything, I said. Karma's already clocked in. She smiled. That's the Ethan I remember. I'm not that Ethan anymore, I said. But maybe I can be someone better. You will be. We sat quietly for a while. She eventually stood. You'll call if you need anything? I'll call, I promised. After she left, the apartment fell back into silence, but it felt different now. Softer. Less cruel. I walked to my desk. It had been months since I'd opened my sketchbook. The pages smelled like dust and old graphite. I picked up a pencil and started drawing, not buildings this time, but lines, shapes, fragments of something trying to rebuild itself. Hours passed without me noticing. The world outside darkened, but I kept going. Every line I drew made the air feel a little less heavy. When I finally leaned back, my hand was cramped, but my chest didn't ache as much. I whispered, "You don't heal by forgetting. You heal by surviving." The words hung there, quiet and true. I stood by the window, looking down at the city lights. Somewhere out there, Marcus was probably spinning lies, smiling that same perfect smile. But lies have short legs. Truth always walks slower, but it never stops. I didn't want revenge anymore. Not the kind that burns others. I just wanted peace, the kind that lets you sleep without replaying every word, every betrayal. I glanced at the sketch again. It wasn't beautiful. But it was real. And so was I. I turned off the light and whispered to the dark, "You can't destroy what's already been rebuilt stronger." Then I smiled for the first time in months, small, tired, but honest. And for the first time since she left, I felt something close to hope. Clara's voice broke through the static on my phone. "You're going to want to see this." "What now?" I asked, still half asleep. "It's Marcus. His company, there's a scandal. Aaron found documents linking them to forged contracts with Lena's firm." I sat up instantly. "Forged contracts? Are you sure?" "As sure as the sun. We've got screenshots, emails, everything." My chest tightened. "Lena's involved?" "She signed some of them. But it looks like Marcus used her name without telling her." I rubbed my temples, trying to process. "Of course he did." Clara exhaled. "I'm sending you the files. It's bad, Ethan. Really bad." I opened the folder she sent, emails, signatures, false invoices. Marcus's arrogance spilled off the screen. "He used her," I murmured. "Exactly," Clara said. "And now it's all falling apart." By noon, social media was on fire. Headlines: Marcus Hale's company under fraud investigation. His photo plastered everywhere. I couldn't help a bitter laugh. Guess karma has a sense of timing. Aaron called next. "Dude, he's gone. Deleted everything, LinkedIn, Instagram, even his company site." "Coward," I said. Aaron chuckled. "Took the money and ran, probably." Then came the text I didn't expect. "Can we talk? Please. Lena." My stomach sank. For a moment, I considered ignoring it. But curiosity, or maybe closure, won. I typed back, "Come by if you need to." An hour later, she stood at my door, eyes swollen, hands trembling. She looked nothing like the woman who once laughed at my jokes over candlelight. "Ethan," she whispered. I stepped aside. "Come in." The silence between us was thick, suffocating. She sat on the edge of the couch, clutching her phone. "You saw the news?" I did. "It's true. Marcus forged contracts under my name." I didn't know until the investigators called. I folded my arms. "You didn't know? Or you didn't want to know?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "I swear, Ethan, I didn't." He said everything was legitimate. "I just signed what he sent me." I was stupid. "Yeah," I said quietly. "You were." She looked up sharply. "Don't say it like that. You think I haven't paid enough already?" I met her gaze, steady. "You think losing him is punishment? You should have thought before letting him into our life." Her lip trembled. "I thought I was helping him. Helping us. He said he could get me a promotion. And he got you a scandal instead." She flinched. "I know. I know I deserve this." I stared at the floor. "You don't deserve prison. But you deserve the truth hitting you in the face." She wiped her tears. "You hate me." "I don't," I said. "I just don't feel anything anymore." Her breath caught. "Not even anger? Not even that?" For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The sound of the ticking clock filled the room. Finally, she said, "I miss what we had." I smiled faintly. "What we had died the night you lied." She sobbed quietly. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "Neither did I said. But life doesn't care about intentions." She stood up slowly. "I lost everything, Ethan. My job, my reputation, myself." I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt only calm detachment. "Maybe it's time you find who you really are without someone to lean on." Her voice broke. "Can you ever forgive me?" I shook my head. "Forgiveness isn't something I owe you. It's something you'll have to earn from yourself." She covered her face, crying softly. "I never wanted to hurt you. You did, I said. And now you're living with what that means. She lingered at the door, one last desperate glance. If you ever need to talk, I won't, I replied. When the door closed behind her, the silence didn't sting, it settled. For the first time, my chest didn't ache. The past didn't claw at me. Clara called again later that evening. You okay? I am, I said simply. It's over. She hesitated. You sound different. I guess I finally let go, I said. I stepped onto the balcony, the cool night air brushing against my face. The city lights flickered below like tiny confessions. I whispered to no one, justice doesn't always need a witness. And as I looked out into the quiet, I realized, the web had unraveled, but I was finally free. The morning began like any other, coffee, deadlines, quiet hum of keyboards. Then my assistant knocked softly. There's someone here to see you, Mr. Hale. Who? I asked, eyes still on the blueprint spread across my desk. A Mr. Reed, she said. He said it's about a new project proposal. The name hit me like a whisper from a buried life. I looked up slowly. Reed? Yes, she replied. From Reed and Company. Construction. I felt something tighten in my chest, but it wasn't anger. Just recognition. Send him in. The door opened, and there he was, Marcus's father. Gray hair, sharp suit, polite smile. He extended his hand. Mr. Hale. A pleasure to meet you. I've heard remarkable things about your firm. I stood, shook his hand. Appreciate that. Please, have a seat. He looked around my office, nodding approvingly. Modern, efficient. I like it. We're looking for a lead designer for a new development, something sustainable, forward-thinking. Your reputation precedes you. I smiled faintly. I'll be glad to hear more. He laid out the blueprints. This project means a lot to me. My son used to handle our creative direction before he left the company. I met his eyes. I read about that. He sighed. It's been hard. He made mistakes, too many. But he's still my son. I nodded, keeping my voice steady. Family loyalty runs deep. Yes, he said quietly. Even when they disappoint us. There was irony in every word, but I said nothing. I just listened. He continued explaining timelines, costs, and design concepts. I took notes, occasionally asking questions. Each time he spoke his son's name, it felt like the echo of an old wound, but the pain didn't come. Only distance. Finally, he leaned back. So, will you take the project? I paused. Yes. I will. His face brightened. Excellent. I'm looking forward to working with you. I nodded. Likewise. When he left, I sat in silence for a while, staring at the signed agreement on my desk. The name Reed printed in bold at the bottom seemed almost poetic. Clara called just then. You sound quiet, she said. I just got a new client, I replied. That's good, isn't it? It's Marcus's father. She exhaled sharply. You're kidding. No, what did you do? I said yes. Why? She asked softly. Because, I said, they took everything from me once. Now I'll rise, not to destroy them, but to remind them who survived. She was silent for a beat. You've changed. I had to, I said. Hatred is heavy. I'm tired of carrying it. Later that evening, I picked up the paper from the reception desk. The headline caught my eye, Former CEO Marcus Reed faces legal charges in corporate fraud case. His photograph was smaller now, tucked beneath newer scandals, fading from relevance. I stared at it for a long time. My colleague Jason walked by. You know him? Used to, I said simply. He looks rough. Guess karma found him. I folded the paper. Karma doesn't chase, it waits. He nodded slowly. Still, must feel good. Not really, I replied. It just feels quiet. As the office emptied, I stayed behind, finishing drafts for Mr. Reed's project. Lines and curves formed beneath my pen, clean, purposeful, deliberate. Every stroke felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. The night outside was calm. Streetlights flickered against the glass. I leaned back, letting the silence fill the room. For years, I thought closure meant seeing them fall. But watching Marcus crumble brought no joy, only clarity. I didn't need revenge. I needed peace. My phone buzzed, an unread message from Clara, proud of you. You did the right thing. I typed back, I'm finally free, Clara. Not from them, from what they made me feel. Before locking up, I glanced once more at the contract on my desk. The irony wasn't lost on me. Life had a strange way of circling back, but this time, I wasn't the one drowning. As I turned off the lights, I whispered to the empty office, let them remember the name they tried to break. The city outside shimmered, alive and endless. For the first time, I didn't feel haunted by the past, it felt like part of the story that led me here. And as I walked into the night, I knew this chapter wasn't about revenge or justice. It was about arrival. I didn't just survive them, I outgrew them. The letter came on a Sunday, no name on the envelope, just my address written in her familiar handwriting. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside, her words spilled across lined paper, shaky and uneven. Ethan, I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know that I finally understand what I took from you. I know now what Marcus did, to you, to your father, to me. He twisted everything until I couldn't tell right from wrong. I thought I was strong enough to see through him, but I wasn't. I'm sorry for believing him. I'm sorry for betraying you, asterisk. I stopped reading and exhaled slowly. The walls of my apartment felt too small, too close. I folded the letter, grabbed my keys, and walked out. The park was quiet, washed in gold light. I followed the path to the old oak tree, the same one where Lena and I used to sit, sharing coffee and secrets. The same spot where I'd started to believe in love again. I sat down, the paper trembling in my hands. Her words continued. You once told me that trust is built, not given. I broke that. I let my fear make choices my heart didn't agree with. I didn't deserve the way you loved me. I've lost everything now, my job, my reputation, my peace. But what hurts most is losing the only person who ever looked at me without judgment. I whispered, you lost that long before the world knew. A breeze passed through, lifting the edge of the letter. I kept reading. Marcus used me like a pawn. I see that now. When he talked about your father, he laughed, said you were weak for holding on to anger. I defended you, Ethan. I swear I did. But the truth is, I didn't defend you enough. I was too afraid of losing him, too proud to admit I'd chosen wrong. You were right about him all along. I clenched my jaw, eyes tracing her final lines. If you can, let go of the hate. Don't become what he tried to make you. I'll carry my guilt, it's mine to bear. You deserve peace, even if it's not with me. There was a small heart drawn at the bottom, a habit she'd always had, back when her notes were filled with laughter, not regret. I leaned against the trunk and closed my eyes. Her voice echoed faintly in my mind, all those late nights, all those promises. Funny, I murmured, how apologies come when they don't matter anymore. My phone buzzed. Clara's message lit up the screen, you okay? I typed back, yeah. Just, ending something. She replied with a heart emoji. I smiled faintly and set the phone aside. For a moment, I imagined what it would have felt like to forgive Lena, to tell her it was okay, that we both made mistakes. But that would have been a lie. Some wounds didn't need reopening. I tore the letter into strips and piled them beside me. The lighter clicked in my hand, a small flame flickering in the wind. I hesitated for a second, then let the paper catch. It curled fast, edges blackening, ink turning to smoke. As the ashes scattered, I whispered, some things don't deserve closure. The words hung in the air, soft but final. The wind carried the ashes toward the lake, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel the weight of her name pressing on my chest. No anger. No longing. Just stillness. I stood, brushed the dirt from my hands, and walked away from the tree. The world felt open again, quiet, but alive. The past had finally burned itself out. It's been 5 years. Sometimes I still wake up before dawn, expecting the old pain to return, but it never does. The silence feels different now. Peaceful. Earned. Coffee? Clara asked this morning, leaning on the doorframe of my office. Only if it's strong enough to wake the dead, I said, smiling. She laughed. You've changed, you know that? You actually smile now. I had to learn how. I leaned back in my chair. Smiling used to feel like lying. Now it feels honest. She set the cup on my desk. Any word from her? I shook my head. No. And I don't want one. Lena made her choice, and I made mine. Clara hesitated. And Marcus? Gone, I said quietly. No one's heard from him in years. Some say he's hiding abroad. Others say he tried to start over. Doesn't matter anymore. She studied me. You really mean that? I nodded. I used to think revenge would heal me. But it doesn't fix anything, it just feeds the wound. She smiled softly. You sound like someone who's finally at peace. Maybe I am, I said. Maybe that's the real revenge, living without them. She laughed. Poetic as always, Ethan. After she left, I stared out the window. The city was alive, cars moving like veins of light through the morning haze. I used to hate this place. Too many memories. Now it feels like proof that time keeps going, no matter who breaks along the way. My phone buzzed with a message from Aaron, dinner tonight? The team wants to celebrate the new contract. I replied, wouldn't miss it. Sometimes I think about the boy I was at 17, the night Marcus framed my father, the shame, the whispers. I wonder what he'd think if he saw me now. Would he believe that the same world that broke him could also teach him peace? Dad, I whispered, looking up at the ceiling. We made it through. In moments like this, I feel him beside me, not as a ghost, but as a quiet strength. At the cafe later, Aaron clapped me on the back. To Ethan, the guy who somehow turned tragedy into design magic. I laughed. You're overselling it. No, Clara said, raising her glass. You rebuilt more than buildings, Ethan. You rebuilt yourself. Their words warmed me, but I didn't need applause. I'd already won where it mattered. After dinner, I walked home alone. The air was crisp, the streets washed in yellow light. Passing by that park, the one where I burned Lena's letter, I stopped. The tree still stood tall, leaves rustling softly. For a moment, I let myself remember everything, the love, the lies, the silence after. Then I let it all drift away. A woman passing by smiled at me. Beautiful night, isn't it? Yeah, I said. It really is. I kept walking, each step lighter than the last. The world didn't owe me justice, but it had given me something better, clarity. At home, I poured myself a glass of water and sat by the window. The reflection staring back wasn't the broken boy anymore. My scars were still there, faint but visible, reminders, not weights. I whispered to the night, sometimes karma doesn't scream. It whispers through the peace of those who survived. And for the first time in my life, I truly felt like the man who walked away, not from love, not from pain, but from the shadows that once owned me.